What's up, guys? HockeyTikTockey is back with an all-new video. In today's episode of the podcast, I'm talking about the Calgary Flames. So, as you guys may or may not know, last night, the Calgary Flames got their first shutout of the year. Woo! Yeah, they beat New Jersey Devils 3-0. Dan Vladar was incredible in his first shutout of the year. And the Flames, they really battled, guys. I feel like after that long 4-game losing streak, they came out with a lot of energy and a lot of passion and a huge amount of effort to kind of turn the skid around, because the last 2 games in particular were atrocious. They did there was a hard fought battle against Carolina and Winnipeg, but by the time they played Vegas and Utah, it was apathetic, guys. 5-0 against Vegas and then 5-1 against Utah. That's 10-1 goals for, goals against for the Flames opponents in those last 2 games. So getting the shutout last night for the Calgary Flames was huge. It gives them a ton of momentum leading into the Battle of Alberta coming up tomorrow in Edmonton. Is it in Edmonton or in Calgary? I can't remember. But either way, it's Edmonton versus Calgary. And the last time that these two teams met was very early on in the season, about a week ago. And since that time, they're much closer in terms of their records for the year. So as you guys may or may not remember, at the beginning of the season, the Flames were 4-0-1, I think, at the time when they played Edmonton, something like that. And the Oilers were like and or maybe 1-3 or something like that. It was basically their records were very far apart, and since then they've equalized, because since that last game, I think Calgary might have only gotten 1 win, which was an overtime win against Pittsburgh. I guess, and then the shutout last night. So 2 wins, 4 losses, and then Edmonton, on the other hand, has gone like 4-2-1, something like that. So they've won more than they've lost, and Calgary has lost more than they've won since the meeting. So now this is a really pivotal game for both clubs. Of note, according to my last podcast update, Connor McDavid is injured. So what will that mean for this game? Well, it makes it so that the Flames have less of a threat from the big guns when it comes to Edmonton, because without Connor McDavid sort of driving the offense, without him kind of being in charge of leading the charge when it comes to Edmonton's offense, they tend to struggle sometimes when they don't have McDavid. But they do have some really incredible secondary scoring, like Leon Draisaitl. I heard about it quite a bit this last week. Whenever Connor McDavid is injured, it seems like Leon Draisaitl starts to kind of pick up the slack, pick up the pace that is left behind by Connor's. And there's a lot of examples like that over the years that I've seen personally, or I could remember. Another really great one is Evgeny Malkin of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Whenever Crosby is injured, and Crosby used to have quite a history of injury trouble, and it seemed like every time that he got injured, Evgeny Malkin would kind of pick up the slack, and he would score at a higher rate than what he normally does. And I think Leon Draisaitl is kind of in the same boat, because I remember, I forget what year it was, but it was a few years ago. I'm pretty sure that Leon won the scoring title for the year, or if not, he was number 2. And it was a year where McDavid lost most of the season to injury. And Malkin did the same when Crosby was injured. Another really good example I could think of, this was about 10 years ago for the Calgary Flames. I don't know if you guys remember this, but Mark Giordano, who was our leading defenseman, our most sort of valuable player at the time, at least from an all-around point of view. Maybe he wasn't our top point getter or point scorer, but he was still like, the rock on the back end, keeping everything nice and tight for the defense. And he was putting up a lot of points from the back end as well. But Mark Giordano got injured. He had like a biceps injury or something like that right around the end of the season. And at the time, Calgary was kind of making a push. They were fighting for a playoff spot. And I remember after Giordano went down, the team sort of all started playing better because maybe they felt like losing that top player was sort of a reason to kind of stay focused and motivated even more because they don't have that guy to rely on. So I've heard that Edmonton Oilers, when their captain goes down, has extra motivation to start fighting even harder to get ahead, to get to push, because when McDavid's there, it's like they have this guy that they could just rely on to go out. If they need a goal, if they need a score, if they need a scoring opportunity, well, let's put McDavid out there. He'll figure it out for us. That's kind of what it feels like sometimes for the Edmonton Oilers. So, big Battle of Alberta coming up tomorrow. The Calgary Flames are feeling good. Dan Vladar gets his first shutout of the year. And so far, guys, this year, Calgary has been alternating their goalies. Dan Vladar, Dustin Wolf. Dan Vladar, Dustin Wolf. Dan Vladar, Dustin Wolf has been literally every second game has switched goalies. So, did Dan Vladar earn his chance to be the full-time starter after this shutout? I don't know, guys. It's a little bit of a controversy now because I think up until this point, Dustin Wolf had been playing slightly better than Vladar. Slightly, I say. Not a huge amount better, but enough that it was noticeable to me. Like, I thought that Wolf was giving Calgary a better chance to win every night. And especially after Vladar got completely blown out in the Vegas loss. But then Wolf got blown out against Utah, and now Vladar came back with a shutout. So it's really hard to say, but let me know what you guys think. Should Dan Vladar start next game against Edmonton, or should Huska put Dustin Wolf back in? Let me know in the comments, and thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a great day, and subscribe if this is the first time you're seeing this video.